That's Caleb Landry Jones, or at least part of him, with a song from his album Hey Gary, Hey Dawn. The acclaimed actor and musician first released the album back in April and then added 11 more songs to its deluxe version. You may have seen Caleb acting in Breaking Bad, American Made, and Knit Ram, where he played Australian mass murderer Martin Bryant. This year, in addition to the album, he's shooting Dracula: A Love Tale with acclaimed French director Luc Besson. We found Caleb in LA and asked him how and why he works so much.
I don't know. One of the last directors I worked with said I'm a maximalist, which I don't really agree with. But I was discussing it with my girlfriend, and we came to the conclusion that maybe the way I go about work is a maximalist kind of effort.
You're all in, right?
Yeah. No, it feels more akin to kind of just effect or something like that. One thing causes something else to happen.
Okay.
And music has been a part of my life since I was very young. And if I don't make it ever so often, I start to feel a little outside of myself.
Gotcha. Well, you don't want that. That's good. What music got you first hooked?
I think it wasn't so much music itself as much as kind of this idea that it can be whatever you make it. That
Yeah.
that I was interested in it and liked it naturally, but I think I started to become very obsessive about it when I started to like kind of write my own songs,
Right.
which I started pretty young doing that. But that's where I get the most, I suppose, pleasure or joy is
Right.
knowing that there's kind of no wrong step. It can fall apart, and that's the worst that'll happen.
Right. Gotcha. And is that a big difference between that and acting for you?
Yes and no. There's a lot of little things that make them pretty different experiences overall. But at their essences, there's a lot of similarities. But the mediums ask for some of the same stuff from you, but in very different ways.
Right. I understand. Okay.
Usually on someone else's schedule is the film.
Right.
It's always on someone else's schedule. Music, if I'm not in a studio, it's on my time, which is a very different kind of
Right.
thing.
Yes. Speaking of your schedule, because my understanding is that you made this record with the intention of performing it live and
Yeah.
focusing on the live thing. So is that still to come, the live bit?
Yeah, I hope so. Um, every time I sit down to record an album in a studio, there's always a movie that pops up that takes me out of the studio, but then it gives me also some money to finish that album. So um, it's kind of like that to where although I try to plan for things, other things happen,
Right.
which usually turn out to be great things. As well, just different things. But yes, I made the album to play out, and I certainly hope to have more opportunities to do that in the next, in the future.
Gotcha. Did I see you're planning on doing something fairly long term in Austin with a big band or something?
We did a residency.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, with plans to play out more. But so far it's kind of stopped there for the moment. But yeah, we were playing for about 5 or 6 weeks in Austin.
Man. At the same,
Not every night,
not
but
every night, but at the same venue?
yeah, once a week for about a month we were playing at this place called Seaboys.
Right.
And then we'd kind of try to get a gig or two extra outside of the residency. Um, so we did that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, and what
And
kind of band?
some of the guys were on the record, but a lot of the people weren't on the record. And so that was pretty exciting. But everyone was friends of friends, or if I didn't know them, someone else in the band knew them very
Right.
well.
Yeah, because there's a lot of instrumentation within the record. There's strings, there's horns, there's,
Yeah.
it's pretty. There's a lot going on. So were you trying to recreate that on stage, or were you taking it somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it can't help but take it somewhere else. And at the same time, mostly just try to have the spirit of the album, but is what was so great was playing with other people that weren't on the album, those that were, those that weren't, and they kind of pulled it to other places. Like having a different drummer, for example, is a pretty
That's
big
nice.
difference.
Yeah,
But all it made me want to do was just write another album with the intent of
working with him.
everyone here, yeah,
Yeah,
being on that, knowing now more about everyone and going and realizing who likes what and who's really obsessed with what or what their own music is like and but it was just it was a lot of fun to play with friends and friends of friends that became friends.
right. But it's nice
Or
that
I'd like to think that.
it's nice that the acting thing seems to sustain the music thing, so you pay one pays for the other. It feels like.
Yeah.
And do people come to see you because they know you from the screen, or does it kind of go both ways?
I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both.
Okay.
There might be a few folks that I don't know. Most folks that I've talked to though seem to either have never heard the music or have been listening to it recently and really liking it or something.
That's cool.
So
Yeah. So this new deluxe version of the album, I was expecting the when I first heard that that was the case, that
two remixes.
you were just gonna tack on the other additional things at the end, but it's totally revamped and re track listed. So tell me why that happened.
Well, I think just very practical reasons of we'd made a double album, the first one, and I think they've just sold less and less as with each album. And what I what I brought to the table was very clearly a double album.
Right.
But I think just out of I'm thinking what would do better. And I think it was a good decision to kind of, I think it made it easier for folks to kind of take in. And maybe, I don't know.
All right.
But, uh, but yeah. So I'm really excited that the rest of the album is included now, just because for me, it's hard to take one song without another one. Uh, for me, it's just all a part of what happened there in those months,
Right.
and therefore it belongs.
Right. So what did happen there in those months when you were making the record? What did it feel like to you that in the studio, was it a lot of hard work? Was it fun? Was it collaborative? Were you running the show?
I don't think I'm ever running the show. Uh, if I am, it doesn't feel like it. But
Oh, that feeling.
no, we were we were going through a lot of things were happening in life to a lot of us who were making it. And without getting into too many details,
All right.
um, we made the record faster than we've made the other ones. And we brought all the equipment into the room this time, instead of on the other side of the glass like we have in the past, which is normal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is
Um,
normal.
and we put it on the other side so that we could move a bit faster. And through that, I was hoping to get some kind of rawness or a little more of that kind of loose kind of kinetic energy that was happening. Um, Trying not to overthink things too much.
Right.
Sometimes I can make a record and then get into the mixing and it kind of you just don't want to you just don't want to deal with it because there's so many problems.
Fair enough.
And you
All
don't
right.
know where to start, and I don't know the equipment well enough to know where to start.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now I'm interested when you do your vocals because when I was listening to the record, I heard different voices. Um, sometimes you sounded like somebody like maybe Mark Bolan or somebody like that or Lou Reed, but
oh, nice.
it's not a bad thing, right? But
No, no.
how do you
Uh,
approach your vocal? Do you take on a persona? Or are you singing? Are you kind of because you're an actor, so that probably I don't know if that complicates it or not.
not no, not really, not at all. Um, the most complicated it got was thinking about being on stage again, and should you perform, or
Right,
and that went out the window as soon as you start. But for any notion of something prepared,
right,
once you forget the chords, that's
yeah,
you're in it. But no, I don't think so much about I want to do this voice or this voice. Mostly just playing the chords or a melody, and it kind of comes out how it comes out. Feels like the kind of song it is dictates that. Um, and so as soon as I hear a melody while I'm playing, or something's coming out, it's usually coming out the way it's going to come out on the album.
right.
Um, and then I don't think about it too much and just try to get the best version of that. But usually I only change it if I get into the studio and on the microphone and it's just not working at all. But very rarely does that happen. Not to say I get it right all the time, just to say that usually that first kind of first intuition is usually what I go with. Same with lyrics and same with structure. Usually how uh how you how you get it in the beginning is usually what I stick to. It's only when I've got a piece of material for very long, like I'm stuck in a hotel room. Um, Sounds terrible. I'm not stuck making a movie, but making a movie, but I'm stuck in a hotel room and
No, no,
I
I
can't
understand.
I can't record it. And so then maybe like the structure changes because I've had more time with it and I've written another three songs or that I'm now put into take a bridge there, put it in over there or something. But for the most part, especially with this album, wrote it very fast within like 2 weeks and
Man,
really just stuck to what I wrote in those 2 weeks, and then found other stuff in the studio when it came out, what keyboard presets and what things like that,
gotcha.
and horns question mark,
Yep,
that
yep.
would suddenly you get to a track and you go, oh man, it's just there's not it's not enough. It doesn't have the cojones enough. And then you start thinking about horns, and
Right.
something like that.
Well, speaking of horns, I was hoping to pick a track kind of relatively at random that you can elaborate on or not. And
Sure.
Spot a Fly seemed to pop out in my mind. Had a little kind
Yeah.
of I Am the Walrus vibe to it. So, what can you tell me how that came to be?
Charging for the gears, plug 'em full of retrospect and bash them with the fury of market rock hunger. If you've got the number, then you've got no hand. Temporary blindness leads to permanence.
That's actually I wrote that years ago.
There you go.
And it's the only song that I wrote years ago that's on there. Um, but with that, I should just say I wrote the first melody that comes in the beginning of the song and it goes away after like a minute or less.
Right,
But that I wrote because the label asked for Spotify does these kind of ads where you're supposed to say your name, and I think it's called a banner or something. You're supposed to say your
right,
name and say thanks for listening, click on the banner, or you got to say click on the banner, something like that.
right.
And so it was the first time I'd been asked to do that, and I don't know if I've done it since, but I thought, well, I'll write I'll write a song or something, So I wrote like the same melody, but with lines of saying da 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 da, and check out the album, The Mother Stone, coming out this month, but to the song or to that melody with like acoustic. And I thought it was so clever. And then like this many years later, I think I found myself that popped in my head or something, or yeah, something I never forgot. And if I don't forget something, usually I tend to try and do it again. But it hasn't happened that much. There's hardly any material on any of the albums that wasn't written in that time of making albums. So it's
Gotcha.
funny you bring that one up.
And I'm curious now that you mentioned it, is the title of the song a play on the word Spotify?
Yes, yes.
There you go. And it all makes perfect sense now.
Yeah. One of the guitar players, Jim, he was like, ah. And I was like,
Oh,
yeah.
that's it.
I think frustrated that he didn't catch it the first time when he was looking at the titles. Or
Yeah.
he's the only person in the band that gave me a compliment on the titles. Said I like the titles. That's all he said, I think. The music. Maybe he said he liked the music too, but all I remember was good titles. I like the titles.
Right.
Or are you sure about those titles? That's usually what you hear more often.
And you made a couple of videos, one for, was it Spiders in the Trees, and another one. Do you get much involved with the visualization of your music?
And there are spiders in the trees, and they bend to the water, and the pond looks like the sea, but alas, it's only a mirror. Which one are you? Which one are you?
Yeah, some of the stuff I've made myself, and then there's been some other videos. I guess most of the videos done by someone else. Jacqueline Castell did some videos for the Gadzooks album, and there was a filmmaker, Emil Corton Wilson, who came to Austin and filmed some stuff around the residency.
Oh, cool.
And then there's this guy, Stadler, who did some music videos that are animated based on some drawings that I did for this album. And Jean Stefan, I told him I was probably complaining about needing videos or needing to push the music more. And he said, let's do 10 minutes or just stand there. You mind? I'll film you,
Right.
And I love what he put together, but for the most part, try to stay out of it when it comes to someone else making something. Or the Kloster Brothers, they did a video for Corn Mine on the album.
Oh yeah, I said that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And your head is there, but I didn't see much more of you.
Yeah, the rest is underneath the mine. But I think it's good. Jacqueline, I wish I gave more room to and did more of her idea. But for the most part, I've just pretty much gone with what the other artist wants to do, and usually let them choose the song too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think Corn Mine I asked because they were looking at it as a single, the label, and so that would be helpful.
Right, that would be helpful.
But I think they wanted to do a video for Spiders in the Trees too.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad it worked out the other way.
And one of the guys that plays with you and has played with you a while is Robert Hudson. Is that correct? He's like
Robert Woodrow Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
We've
guys go
known
way
each
back.
other, yeah, since we were 5,
Oh, geez.
about 4 or 5. Um, and we had a band together when we were teenagers. And actually we recorded something last year, a year before. It was like the first time in 15 or 16 years. Uh, that was really nice. But yeah, Robert's on everything.
Yeah.
If he's not busy, I've just been lucky that he's always had time or made time to come out and lay down the bass and
Gotcha.
anything else.
All right. Very good. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you did a play about an Australian mass murderer. So,
A film.
If it was
Yeah,
a film. Okay, sorry. I wasn't quite sure. But
no,
so did you have to put on the accent?
I did. Yeah,
How did you deal with it? Because it's an interesting one.
yeah. I heard it went well. Uh, Nobody's told me otherwise, and usually people want to tell you
They do.
otherwise.
They'd love to
So
tell you how you screwed up.
yeah, but I haven't been over there since. So
Whereabouts did you shoot it?
shot that in Geelong,
Okay,
just outside of Melbourne.
right.
But that brought me back to Texas, kind of really yearning for a lot of guitar, bass, and drums driven music, really stripped down um, songs. And so I think Australia making that movie over there was a big part of uh, what happened with this record, I think.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Or that's why there's a 30-second, kind of punkish song and another 45
Oh, yeah.
second, guitar
Hey,
driven song.
yeah.
There's a few of them, but a few little kind of. But I wanted the electric guitar to be a prevalent, I don't know, spokesman or something
Do you
on the
know much
record.
about the Australian music scene?
A little bit. While I was over there, I was listening to what the director turned me on to, which was more like 80s, 90s music from over there. But the producer, Nick, he used to be a radio DJ. I think he had a radio show out there in Melbourne. So he was always, I don't know, there's always a lot of music talk.
Right.
And one of the ladies in the costume department, Phoebe, she had a band. And like, it's just, I don't know, it feels very close all
Right.
the time over there. Or it did to me. It felt there was this kind of garage band in a garage feeling that I was always getting.
Nice, nice. All right. So musically, what are you thinking about next? Anything? Or are you just kind of head in your film thing at the moment? Because
No,
you're doing Dracula, right?
yeah, we're shooting. We're almost done shooting Dracula. Um, I don't know what's gonna come out next. Uh, I think it'll also be a kind of it'll defer to location and time and what happens before then.
Gotcha. It sounds like you need kind of keep an open mind about things. You go in with somewhat of a plan and then see where it takes you from there.
No, I mean go in with the plan and stick to the plan. It just has no choice but to go other places too. I feel like that's a part of the plan though, in
Right?
some way.
Right. Because did you shoot part of Dracula in Lapland? Is there any music there? I've never.
I don't know where that is. They might have shot there before I got
Oh,
there.
okay. You didn't go. Okay.
Yeah, we shot in Paris and outside of Paris and yeah, in France.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely have some music there. Interesting. All right. Very good. Well, hopefully you can make your way down to New Zealand sometime because
Yeah, I hope so.
there is a music scene as well as a film scene, so you'd fit right in.
Oh no, I've heard a lot of great stuff coming from over there. A lot of I don't know, a lot of indie kind of
It's
seems
very
like kind of stuff.
exactly. Well, the hot band at the moment is the Beths, and
Oh, okay.
they just returned to play 3 gigs in the last weekend here, and kind of a homecoming triumphant return from the States where everybody knows who they are now. So
Yeah, that sounds familiar, the Beths.
Beth's, yeah.
But I'm not too hip. I need to be better about knowing what's happening.
There's a lot going on all the time. Nobody
there is.
knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Beat yourself up. All
No
right.
joke.
All right. Well, thank you for spending this time with me, especially with
Oh
all the
no.
hassle of getting online and all that.
Thanks for taking the time, and I'm sorry it took
My pleasure.
a while
Believe
to
me.
get together.
I'm gonna go watch some of your films now.
You got quite a collection back there.
Oh yeah, I got carried away.
Yeah, check out Knitram now that you've heard the album.
Because Knitram is
came out
spelled
afterwards.
backwards, right?
Yeah.
And that's my name. I have to. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Have a great rest of the day.
You too. If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.